in life there is a moment where you have to take some risk, whatever level that is, in order to kind of go to that next level. And it just felt like that was like our moment to do that, where it's just like, okay, this is the moment this is the decision to kind of take this leap of faith, or this risk, if you will, to really go for this. Because then we're like, okay, we're going, like, this is all in now.
Welcome to the Funny in Failure podcast, a podcast that celebrates failure and shines the light on the emotional side of comedy and life with yours truly, Michael Kahan. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Today's guest are humble, fun, insightful, and super chill. This was such a fun and easy chat. I love them. I really admire Micah and Sarah's journey. The hustle and courage it took to pursue their dreams and goals is wonderful to hear. It's also really interesting to hear how they got to where they are now with conscious effort, creativity, and resilience. We all talk about living our dreams and goals, but listening to Micah and Sarah and how they actually did it is really inspiring to me, and hopefully sparks the flame inside of you all. They are awesome. They have such a great vibe. Okay, let's get into it. Micah and Sarah Wallace are dynamic digital creators known for their authentic storytelling, vibrant personalities, and engaging multimedia content. As a couple, they've built a dedicated following across platforms by blending creativity with relatability, sharing everything from everyday life to curated projects that inspire and uplift. They have a massive presence across social media, and they produce content that spans lifestyle, travel, family, wellness, and culture. So as you can imagine, we dive deep and we cover a lot, and we chat about the importance of fun, leaving corporate work to pursue content creation, success, embracing cringe, marriage, mission statements, identity, faith, vulnerability, and sharing to the world, plus plenty more. Before we get into this chat, I'd love it if you would share this podcast around. It really helps me grow and lock in amazing guests like these ones. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. How important is fun for both of you guys? I'd love to know your relationship with fun.
We love that question.
We do.
We love fun.
It's one of our core values. We sat down
Nice.
when we were engaged, I think, right?
Yeah.
Were we engaged at that point?
Just married? Maybe.
I think engaged.
Okay.
And we were like, what are, like, if we had to write down our 5 core values for our family, what would it be? And fun just like came up and was on the list. And we talk about it a lot because I think it can be looked at as just kind of, it's like, oh yeah, have fun. It seems very frivolous and not like a serious matter, because life is so serious. But that's just it, is that life is serious. It's serious. All like it, you don't have to work too hard to be serious in this life. So I think, like, whenever we get asked, which isn't that much, but whenever we get asked about like relationship advice, one that kind of comes up is like, try to not go a day without laughing together, and certain day, and maybe certain days will be, there's like really hard days, but if you can try your best to go without a day, don't go a day without laughing together. It just, there is something, I think, chemically that happens, neurologically probably. Definitely. When you laugh together. Just think about friendship, and when you have friends and when you're laughing together, there's just a connection that happens, and it happens in a relationship as well. And for us, and I know that always brings us closer every time we can laugh together. And that starts with just like being silly and being okay being silly and having fun. And I think sometimes people are afraid to be embarrassed and look silly and look and be, quote unquote, what the young bucks say today is cringe.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes. I think and I hope that there's a movement to go towards actually like being okay with, if not like kind of going towards, or not going towards, but just like embracing cringe, because you're just bound to, if you try anything new or if you try something, you are bound to have cringe moments because you're just starting out and you're trying to do something.
100%. Fun is my favorite topic. And as you both know, even though you started out and you've done a creative job, I know you guys moved to corporate finance a little bit later on, but there was no concept of having fun at work. Work was like, as you guys said, serious. Life is serious. You're an adult. You can't laugh and play and have fun. And who would have thought that you guys would be able to do it, not only in your career, but also apply it in life? I just love this. So is it when you were doing these 5 core principles, what made you actually decide to put pen to paper and actually do that? Because I love that.
I think we were sort of trying to come up with a marriage mission statement. And like how do we, for us, our faith is really big for us. So we were kind of like, how do we want God to use us and use our marriage? And how can we really like crystallize that in our mind so when we're making choices for our life we have a filter to run them through. um and so that was writing a marriage mission statement. Well, we did this I think it was actually from the marriage journal.
Yeah,
We
I
did
think
this
it
thing
is.
called the
Oh,
marriage journal, and at the beginning
nice.
of it, before you dive into it, and it's a really simple thing where it's like and I think we even did this before we were married, but it's the same thing every week. It's like 5 questions that you go through with each other once a week, and it's the same every single week. So
Nice.
it's just sort of like a touch point for the week, but at the beginning of it, it gives you these sort of exercises to do, and one of them is write a marriage mission statement. And because of that, we were like, oh, well, let's figure out what the core value, like write the mission statement and figure out what the core values. It may have even also asked what are the core values that you want for your marriage.
Mhm.
And
Brilliant.
so yeah, and so in really thinking, we were like, fun is really important. So let's write these down. We even have a in our living room, we have a it's just like a framed thing, and it has the five values
Oh,
on there.
yeah.
So it's always right in front of our face, reminding us of like, are we doing these things? Are we putting our actions matching our words, including with fun?
That is so awesome. And I'm also married, but you can also apply that just to life. Like, what are your 5 core values in life? How can you apply it in your
Mhm.
job? And then to have it actually print or, framed. I love that. Was fun always something like, is that why you got into musical theater? What was for both of you? I know it's different. Or was it later on you decided to incorporate it more into your craft?
I think it's always been a part of like my DNA. I don't know. No matter what what I've done in my life, whether like you talked about, we both worked corporate for a span of time when we were just trying to get a little bit more financially stable, because if you've been in the theater world or acting world, you know how unstable that can be. But even doing that, which a 9 to 5, it doesn't scream fun to most people. So, but even then, I would try to find a moment or a time to brighten somebody's day or make somebody laugh or do something, even at my corporate jobs. And I did a couple of them, and I did a lot of serving jobs that aren't necessarily fun.
Yeah.
But again, is it like the point of fun is enjoyment, I think. And when you are having fun, you are enjoying things more. So if you are doing something that maybe is not enjoyable for the season that you're in, maybe try to look for the fun that you can have in it. And maybe you have to look a little bit harder in other situations, but you just enjoy life a little bit more when you have fun. I know that sounds so silly and
No,
so
I
cliche,
agree.
but that's why I think like life is too short and life goes by pretty quickly. And we just had our 13-month-old, or our son just turned 13 months. And when you have a kid, all parents probably can feel this too, is that it feels like life really clips along even quicker because you're counting literally month by month, and you're like, oh my gosh, a month's gone, two, now he's 13 months. We just had him yesterday. What's happening? And so it's just, again, it's kind of going back to, you don't have to try very hard in life to be serious, and but because life is hard and so when you can look for the fun in things, life's a little bit more enjoyable that way. But yeah, for me personally, fun has always kind of been a part of what I do, and musical theater is a great way to even express and have more fun in that, because you just kind of get to play pretend and have and sing and dance, and it's really enjoyable. And so that came along later, but I think it's always been kind of a part of me.
Cool. And you, Sarah?
I would say I'm a little bit different. Like Micah has really brought out that side of me, like the goofy, fun, silly side. I think I was much more serious um when we met. And I mean I grew up dancing. I was a dancer, and like, and not that you you can't be great at a craft, great at school. Like, not that you can't do well and also have fun, but I think for whatever reason, when I was growing up, I was like, I gotta take these things seriously. I gotta be serious with school. I gotta be serious with dance. Like,
Yep.
these things matter to me, therefore I need to be serious with them. And I think as a young person, that did help me develop discipline and a work ethic. But it was really when I met Micah that watching him just have fun and everything that he did and be goofy and be silly, really brought that out in me. Because I think I also had I was more afraid of what people thought of me than Micah. That was something that really attracted me to him, was that he didn't care or he didn't seem to care what anyone thought. He was himself. He was unapologetically himself, and you can either like it, or if you don't, then that's fine. Then you're free to go. But I had never really met anyone who was so unapologetically themselves. And so he helped me develop that. When we first started dating, just watching him be goofy and being like, I want to be a little bit more like that. And just him
Cool.
encouraging me to be like, you don't have to be afraid of looking stupid. Like, why are you, like, he would call those things out in me, and I was like, oh, you're right. I am thinking about, like, what are other people thinking of me? So he really helped me curate that in my life.
That's so brilliant to hear. Where did you learn these skills? Is this a family thing, Micah? Where, like, just everyone wants, yeah, just tell me your secrets.
Exactly.
I mean, I think a big part of it is being blessed that I had parents that did not stifle me. Like they didn't say like, hey, you're being a bit too much, or hey, you're like you're I mean, I'm not the quietest person all the time. So there's been moments like that, but I'm fully aware that I can be loud at times. But they have never said like hey, like you're being a bit weird, or hey, why are you so strange, or anything like that. And so
Yep.
I think that just like, and I never felt like I was doing anything wrong, maybe. And I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it's DNA. I don't know if it's just like, uh, but I think having parents that never stifled me in that way was a help. But I've also like I went to junior prom as Dumb and Dumber. Like I wore an orange a
That's
full
so
orange suit,
great.
orange
Oh
top
my
hat,
God.
orange cane,
Oh,
the ruffles, and then my friend was in the blue, and so we did the cane fight and everything. And that was my junior prom, which in high school for a lot of people that's a big deal.
yep.
And I was just, I don't know, I was like, but this is fun. Like I've always wanted to do this. It's like it's not that big of a deal, and it's something to, I don't know, remember. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe if I think back, that was a big help. And then I don't know if the other part is just a DNA thing or not. I don't know.
I think you've also been like, you haven't had really a too many negative responses to how you are, I think,
Yeah.
because there's something so inviting and welcoming about how you are, because he's so unapologetically himself. It makes other people feel that they can do the same. And I
Great,
think
great.
that's
Yeah.
very attractive to people. So people don't respond to him like, oh, you're too much, because they're like, oh, I like this.
I feel comfortable.
I feel welcome here. Yes, I feel
Yeah.
comfortable. Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't know where that comes from, but I do for as long as I've known, that has always been kind of like a mission. Like when I've gotten around people that I can tell are a bit closed off or feel like they are, it's kind of like that shell to crack.
Mm.
I find it almost as like a challenge of just being like almost being extra goofy around them to just be like, look, I will, if you're not willing to like make a fool of yourself and you're scared to like look silly, I'll do it for you. And I'll do it tenfold. And then they start to like, oh, I guess I can be a little bit. And then
Yeah.
they get a little bit more and more into, and then
You're
it just
speaking
kind
my
of comes out,
language.
it kind of comes out of it,
Yeah.
out of them.
Never seen anyone like crack someone's serious shell more than him. Like he does that to everyone, and the way that people warm up to him so quickly, it's truly a gift. Like I feel like that's a God-given gift
Yeah, that
because
definitely
Yeah.
sounds.
it's really cool.
I always go to parties, and if it's a friend, maybe not a random person, their arms are crossed. I'm like, I'm gonna get your arms uncrossed. I'm gonna get you off the phone. I'm gonna
Yes,
do it.
yes,
It's
for
like
sure.
the best thing. Well, you're talking about Dumb and Dumber. Every year at our school, we did for Purim, we did like dress ups, and I don't know why this springs to mind. I just have to say because it's so embarrassing. We went as Charlie's Angels, and there were three of us, but one guy
Brilliant.
didn't go. So we're just two guys dressed as girls. And that was every teacher like, what are you guys doing? And it was quite brutal. We've never forgiven him since. How,
That's
yeah,
not on you. That's on
yeah.
him.
I know,
He
but
totally let you guys down.
and he didn't even tell us. He could have just said, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm not going to school. I thought that was the most, he just betrayed us. We still holding on to him.
Yeah. Man, what is he up to nowadays?
Well,
You're
he's
like,
still a
don't know.
very good
We've cut
friend.
him out of our life.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I see him all the time, but I have not forgiven him. I still
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
it.
yeah. There's a
It's
bitterness in there
it's
still.
just anger that's deep with it. No, we still bring it up, but I haven't forgiven him. But
Yeah, for sure.
the last thing on fun, this is really interesting to me. I used to be an accountant. There was no concept of fun growing up.
Yep.
You know, you need to be a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, whatever. When you hit it, when you're an adult, like you're serious, life's serious. And as we've established, laughing and just laugh, the power of laughter can really change one's life, especially in that moment, something serious. There's a lot going on. I agree, changes your brain chemistry. Now that I've transitioned to this and screenwriting, not every day's fun, but hopefully more days are more fun than others. When
Yep.
things aren't, I guess maybe when you're first starting, there's pressure. Maybe you've left your corporate job. There's a lot going on. You need a video to do well. Were there ever moments where you guys weren't having fun? You're like, look, we actually need to make a change, or yeah, anything that springs to mind?
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I
Well, I was gonna toot your horn if you didn't toot it, so we can both toot your horn. But we don't. We want to keep this PG. We don't want to toot too many horns.
Yeah.
feel like that is where I come in our relationship
Yes.
because those things affect him a little bit more than they affect me, and I have the ability to just kind of like bring him back to center,
Oh,
if you
that's
will,
great.
when
Yeah.
when things like that happen. When it comes to both like letting things go, remembering to laugh something off, or also coming back to like ultimately we just do what we can do. There's so little
What we can control.
we just do what we can control, and we do it well. And again, in our belief system, we're kind of like, then God will take care of the rest. Like we can
Yeah.
only do what we can do. So I think that's where that's how we balance. We're a good balance when it comes to
It
to
sounds
that.
amazing.
Yes.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah, because it's that saying like work like it's up to you and pray like it's up to God. And when you like release over and that's a reminder that she has to do like that she has to give me a lot, because even though I am like fun like or I'm silly and goofy, I think a lot of people, I think that's the other thing about being silly and being goofy, is that people confuse that with stupidity, or seeing that as,
Yes.
and they also confuse it with lazy, or just like not a serious person.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just totally disagree with that. I think because I am very silly, very goofy, and like to have fun, but I also am extremely serious in our craft, lack for a better word, but also just like our career and just like progressing in our life. And so when and we work really, really, really hard. And so when we put in a lot of effort and time into something and it doesn't do well, it's like almost, I think honestly, a little bit of is a little bit of an ego and a little bit of a identity thing that I have a little bit wrapped up, and I'm constantly having to work on that. Where I'm like, my identity does not come from my performance. My identity does not come from the results of this said thing. But it's really hard to do when you are very passionate and very when you take something very seriously, and it's like, content creation is currently our thing in our career. It can be very easy to hang up your identity in the performance of your content. And so that's the thing, that if that does happen, then Sarah is that kind of like, well, I forgot, kind of like, I don't know if guiding light is the right thing, but just kind of like the pendulum. It kind of helps me from swinging too far, and just kind of bring back to center of not like, what she said. So yes. So horn is tooted.
Well, it's interesting you bring up identity, and this is one of the many reasons I started the podcast. I haven't spoken about this in years, so we'll see how good my memory is. Before I did this podcast, I did improv comedy, and I always identified myself as the funny guy. I was, I think I'd left accounting, and this was going to be my career, and I failed one of the classes, and my ego, and I just it was such a tough lesson for me to learn in the moment, because I thought my whole life my identity had been crumbled and crushed. But it was probably the best lesson I've ever learned, because one, it taught me to be a better collaborator, how to make other people shine. How can I, work with other people and all of that stuff. And I realized, and probably still, go through moments of this, that I'm not just what I do. I'm a well-rounded human being, and I'm more than the craft, which is exactly what you guys are saying. But it's very hard. And especially, I think your goals were musical theater at the time. You met during, what was it called? Beauty and the Beast. And then, so your identity would be that, and then you keep on shifting. So it's just such an interesting relationship with how we kind of attach ourselves to things. But yeah, that's my life. Yeah.
Well, we are human beings, not human doings.
I like that.
And so I heard somebody say that, and I was like, well, I mean, it's true, but we do, as humans, we do put we do put so much of our, again, our not to continue to repeat ourselves, but identity in what we do. And like, I think a lot of it gets, I mean, when you go to a party or you're meeting somebody new, it's like the first question you ask is, what do you do?
I hate it. I don't ask that question anymore. It's the worst. Sorry for interjecting, because then you judge someone based on that concept, and there's so much more. Sometimes I try and ask, what do you do for fun? What was the most interesting thing that you've done? Also, I don't know if you get this, but every time I just say like podcast or whatever, they're like, oh, okay. And then it's just dead silence. And so I was like, what have I said? Have I killed someone? Like, this has happened at least 20 times.
Have I offended you?
Yeah, I was like, oh,
I'm not going to ask you to come on if you're worried.
Yeah. But people just don't know how to respond. I know you're probably, you're in New York, so it's probably more common. But people act as if I've killed someone. And I'm like, oh, okay, what do you do? And then it's fine. Do you ever get that as a side point? I hope you don't. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so. I
do think sometimes people are like, what? Especially if you say, like, if we say, oh, we're content creators, people are like, what does
that mean? OnlyFans or that? Yeah.
Just me and my feet.
Tuning our own.
It'll be like influencers, and then people are like, oh, okay. But I feel like even that creates a certain kind of, I don't know, it just creates a certain kind of like thing in their mind where it's like, probably what you're thinking is not what my life looks like, but whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
No one will ever understand. That's life.
We don't need them to either, though.
I agree. I used to, but now I'm just like, what? Like the amount of times I've had that reaction. I'm an accountant, whatever you want to be. OnlyFans, I do that. Whatever. It's probably easier to explain than what I do. I think I cut one of you off. You were going from the identity side, or we moved past. Okay.
I think. Oh no, you didn't. I think I was done, and you just added to it, so it's all good.
Cool. I also want to talk about, because this to me is really exciting. I've got a friend and he's in content creation as well. He's doing amazingly. Darren Levy, Funny Uber Rides, everyone check him out. And
Mhm.
there's a moment when you go from, you're working corporate. I think the goal, and I want to know what this means, that I think you want to get into business ownership. So you obviously made a transition from musical theater. But
Mhm.
that moment when you're working full time to then, finally like pulling the pin, whatever the expression is, to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit my job and do content creation. Can you tell me what that moment was like? Because that's a pretty scary, brave, courageous, whatever, insert adjective. Can you tell me about it for both of you?
It was, I feel like I left my job first, so I feel like it was less scary for me because we still had his
Yeah.
consistent income that we knew would be there. We still had like the health insurance attached to that. We still had some predictability, so it was kind of like, okay, this is step one, which is exciting, but it didn't feel that scary. It felt like, yes, this makes total and complete sense based on what we're making from content creation, and then we still also have a consistent salary income.
Yep.
I would say him leaving his job was
That was more of a
more
faith jump.
of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Because I was what? I was a few months pregnant when he left his job.
Oh, that's
So
could be scary.
So we just were like, let's jump ship on a consistent salary and health insurance while I'm pregnant.
Yeah, lost our health insurance.
But and then there was a whole snafu, so like I gave birth without any health insurance, but which I
Yeah,
know
so we
feels like,
paid out of pocket for the whole thing.
I
but
assume that's not cheap. Your system's
yes,
very different to us, so I can't even
exactly. I was
comprehend.
gonna say,
Oh, I forgot you don't live in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
the qualms of health insurance, but all that to say, that felt like a bigger faith leap.
Yeah.
But we were certain that taking that faith leap would allow us to, yes, would allow us to exponentially expand what we were doing that we were actually excited about. So, and it really did.
Yeah, it did.
It really did.
It did.
I mean, again, going back to like our faith being kind of like our guidepost, we were like, all right, if we just trust that God is gonna provide, He's gonna bring the
Yep.
right opportunities. We're gonna work really, really hard. We're gonna do what we can control, and He'll take care of the rest. And He really,
And we
really
did. Yep.
Yeah. So it was scary, but it was also exciting. It was really exciting.
I would
because
hope so. Can you imagine going, I don't
Yeah.
want to do this, I can't do this, what's it? Yeah. But the whole time.
Yeah. But you just like you look at people that have created any level of success, and I don't know, in life there is a moment where it's you have to take some risk, whatever level that is, in order to kind of go to that next level. And it just felt like that was like our moment to do that, or it's just like, okay, this is the moment to this is the decision to kind of take this leap of faith, or this risk, if you will, to really go for this. Because then we're like, okay, we're going, like, this is all in now. Like now we're going all in on this, and we're kind of burning the boats, and we're going all in on this thing. And yeah, it's always scary, but the people, I don't know, it tends to work out for the people that really
I
decide to
agree.
do that.
But most people, as you guys know, and I've had moments of this as well. Look at my friends where, they say they hate, no judgment, I get it. They hate their job and not enjoying life. But then that moment happens, the kind of in the hero's journey where you can kind of take
Yeah.
that course of action. And most people don't do it. So that's why I love it when I speak to people like you guys, because I agree. Even if it didn't work out, you would have gone into another direction to pursue your ultimate joy, passion, whatever you want to call it. Like there's no, once you make a decision for yourself, when you feel it within, it doesn't matter what the end outcome is. There's just a positive ripple effect. But most people are scared to kind of take that call of action. So that's why I just love it when you guys talk about it. You obviously knew within, you'd done the work. Was it just this feeling? I know you said, maybe praying and all that stuff, but was it just that feeling like we have to do this? We just can't. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, it was that we couldn't take what we were doing any further unless we created some more bandwidth. And the only way to create more bandwidth was for him to leave his job. And so it was like, well, the only way that we can take what we're doing to the next level is to make that jump. Otherwise it would have just stayed stagnant. And I think that's maybe, it's almost like people can sometimes use, like, if they're in that situation, they can use, if that's they're doing this thing over here that they're excited about, and then they have this thing that's maybe the stability. So, but this stays like this. Sorry, yeah, I need my hands
Oh,
for
good.
hands. This stays like this because they're not letting go of this thing. But then they look at this staying like this and being like, well, I can't let go of this thing because this is just staying like this versus exponentially increasing. Whereas like if they would release that, then this would exponentially
Yep.
increase.
Well said. And what I also find, it wasn't just you made the transition. There was a lot of hustle for you guys as well. You guys moved in
Yep.
together. I think you're in a tiny apartment. Maybe there you two and six other people. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was 6 in total. Yep.
And then you
Yeah, that's
work.
the.
No, you go.
Oh, so sorry. So
No,
sorry. I
no, no,
cut you
no,
off.
sorry.
Oh, shoot. Wait, you said a sorry earlier too. I almost
Yeah, I was
caught it.
hoping you would have noticed.
No, I did. I did. Clocked it. No. But I was just gonna say, I'm like, you don't have to like, I know there are people that have done way bigger risks and way bigger jumps than we did. Like, but you don't have to do that. Like like what we did is like we both worked our like corporate, like our 9 to 5s, and then we built our business from like 5 to 10, 5 to 11 every single day. And we did that until we got to a place where it was like at a place that we could transition out and make that jump. But it made the jump a little bit easier than to just be like go cold turkey, where and other people have done it and it's worked out for them. So it's like I'm just saying, like, there isn't this like you have to quit whatever you're doing right now and go all in. It's like we did it kind of strategically, but we were grinding like pretty crazy. I mean, we were both doing 9 to 5s, and then we were at the time we were building an online business. We were trying to get that going and trying to kind of scale that and get that to a place where we can, because our goal has been to want to be able to be full-time entrepreneurs and transition out of our jobs. And so we were doing that from 5 to 10 Monday through Friday. And then
Yeah.
COVID happened, and then I started kind of posting, and that started to grow. And we were like, okay, so then on Saturday and Sunday, we're going to take all day Saturday pretty much and film all the content. And then I will edit all the content for the following week. And we were filming enough to do at least 2 to 3 posts every single day.
Whoa.
And so Monday through Friday, we worked 9 to 5, and then built our online business from 5 or 6 to 10-ish, 10, 11. And then on Saturday, we took all day and basically recorded and filmed all of our content on Saturday. Sunday, it ended up being probably half that day that we would film as well, and I would edit. And then I would have all the content ready and banked ready for the next week. And then it was just repeat. We did that for a full year, and really like hard. I mean, we made some money social media wise, but like not even close to enough for either of us to walk away from our jobs or transition out. So that was that's what you did. But it was just like what we were willing to do to get what we wanted. So, and that was with 4 roommates. So we would be like, hey guys, can we just use the we're gonna use the living room here for like the next hour? Is it okay? Like if we film some videos? And so it wasn't just like this freedom to just film whenever too. We had to like block out times because we wanted to be respectful. So yeah.
And you're also in New York as well, so I can't imagine it's the biggest of places as well. And
oh, it's massive.
But I think a lot of people resonate. You know, you're working the 9 to 5. You're then really planning to get these videos done. And I'm sure you had a little bit of editing skills, but you have to teach yourself probably how to actually
0.
Okay, even crazier. And then, you know, I do screenwriting. I'm always writing ideas, but to get 3 like different, you said you're posting 3 times a day.
2 to 3 a day.
Where
for a full year.
How did you get all those ideas? Like, are you just like meditating or whatever, and then just okay, I got it? Because that's a lot. Like most people, you know, can't do that. So tell me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, part of it was just like getting inspo from from other creators, like just, when you're scrolling and you're getting inspo from that, inspo from just daily life, and it sparks an idea. And so I jot it down in a note, and we have kind of like this notes app that just continues to, we continue to add to. And then, yeah. And then it's just like, it's really,
we also would do like trends.
yeah,
And
trends and
dancing.
dances and singing and things like that.
When does the relationship, and I assume they're all of the highest quality, but you obviously make a transition to post less. When does that decision come into play?
Basically I was like, okay, so a full year, I'm going to, my goal is to post two to three times a day, and no matter what happens. And I think one part of that is kind of throwing up mud up against the wall and seeing what sticks. And then whatever sticks, that's what we double down on. And we're like, okay, so this is what people are resonating with. People are liking this. Okay, so let's do more of this. And then that's part of it. Second, you grow your skill set of editing and filming exponentially faster if you're doing 2 to 3 a day as opposed to 1 a day. So you're just learning at a more rapid rate than, and you're honing in your skills a lot faster. So then after a year, I had all this kind of banked, I guess, knowledge, as well as just grown way faster at my editing skills and filming and knowing what works and just different things. So then I could focus more on, and we've kind of grown our audience and the following at that time as well, to a place where I could tier back to, okay, let's focus more on quality as opposed to quantity, and then focus just on 1 a day. If we can do 2, let's do that. But like, let's just focus on 1 quality, 1 a day, and go more for virality as opposed to just like throwing.
Interesting. And then I assume that was a great way for you to kind of discover your voice. I know that your voice seems pretty like similar, but was this a good way to just figure out like who you are and what you're about? And then obviously Sarah joins on board, and then you guys are flying. What was kind of, were you just figuring out like, oh, if I do this, it does well? Or have you always been, 100% you?
It was, well, I started out just me posting. I posted because I was like bored at COVID, and because my work, I wasn't going into work, and she was leaving every other week for her job. And so I was just bored. And so I just started making silly, dumb videos for myself and posted it on this app where nobody followed me, which is TikTok. Yep. And then I started bringing her in, and that content did better. And so I'm like, of course it did. So I was like, all right, well, and she was definitely apprehensive in the beginning to do social media or come in at all. Like, she had really no interest at all of doing social media. She even to this day, she hardly gets, no, she enjoys doing it now, but she doesn't go on social media very much.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't.
People will be very surprised by that.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's funny because people will be like, they'll talk about like a trend, and I'm like, I actually do not know what you are referring to.
She's like the worst person to ask, like, or it's like, oh my gosh, do you know who that person is? And it's like a really big influencer, famous influencer. We went to the Wicked premiere. I was like, oh, that's blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I have no idea who that is. I was like, of course you don't. Of course you don't.
That's so great.
I do love doing it now, though.
Yes.
And just because I don't engage in it too much, it's honestly just for my mental health, because so much we have it's such a big part of our lives that I'm like, it can't also be the thing that I do when I'm relaxing. Like, that's too much. Yeah. That's too much for me personally. Not saying for everyone, but for me. And so, but I love doing it because it's like the best thing we've ever found that allows us to use our gifts, do something together, be creative. It's such a blessing. So I never want anyone to think that like the fact that I don't like social media doesn't mean that I don't appreciate it, because I do. It's just not how I choose to relax.
I think you've got a great balance, as long as someone else can dish it out and one other person can suffer that.
I'll doom scroll for the both of us.
Yeah. No, I think that's wonderful, because we're all glued to our phones, and being able to minimize that relationship or cut it out as much as possible is brilliant. What about you? How do you, because you're on it all the time. Obviously, you're probably also doing research by watching content. How do you switch off?
I actually do a horrible job at it. To be honest, I'm still working on figuring out that balance, and I think just like daily, it just changes. I try my best on Sundays. Whenever we visit home, I I do my best
Home
to
being
not be on home. Oh, I'm from Wisconsin originally. That's where my family is.
okay.
And then she's from Kansas, in Wichita. And so I do the best that I can when I'm home to not be on my phone, just to because I don't see my family very often. And so I just try to be as present as possible. And then Sundays, we try to okay, yeah, I'm getting the face. Yeah, this I'm just like, yeah, it's not happening. Um,
Yes, we try to rest, but that does not, that's basically like prepping for the next week.
I
Like it's, you know,
yeah,
I get
I'm
it.
gonna be real. Yeah, I I have a hard time turning it off because it's just there is no
it never stops.
there's no
Yeah, of
boundary like a
course.
9 to 5. You're not done with work when you leave at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
There, it's like there you could always be doing something. You could always be posting. You could always be coming up with an idea. You could always be editing. You could always be continuously progressing.
Saying it's like social media never turns off. So there's always something new to look at. There's always some new way to get inspired when you go on there. There's always
Mhm.
it doesn't close. There's no ending. So I think that's also makes it very, very difficult because
Mhm.
especially as a just the way that you're wired as a very driven person, if you're just like, what else could I be doing right now that's productive? I do
Yeah.
think
I
having our
resonate.
son,
I have a hard time. I have a hard time. Oh, sorry to cut you off. You mentioned how I have a hard time not doing anything. Like does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
if we're just sitting and quote unquote relaxing, I just like have a hard time. I have a hard time with that. It's like I want to be like doing something or watching something. I do like watching TV and movies and stuff and doing experiences and doing things with you, but I have a hard time resting, I think is the word. But anyway, but what you were saying, I cut you off when you were saying how when we had a son.
think he's helped. He's been a big help for me when
Yeah.
it comes to boundaries because I now have this constant reminder that my attention needs to go elsewhere. And I really we're very conscientious of being on our phones in front of him because even though he is only 13 months, he knows. Like
Yeah,
he looks
they
at
pick up everything.
yes, he looks at that thing and I'm like, if you're looking at me and I'm looking at my phone, I really don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want you to be being like, Mom, and I'm looking at my phone. So we really try to like when he edits or he's doing something, he'll go into a different room so that Shelton is not watching him on his phone. I really try to, if I'm like engage with Shelton, to not even bring my phone over to where I am because it's just so easy to see something pop up and want to look at it. So I
Yeah.
really try to be super conscientious about it. Is it perfect? No, of course not. And we can't. He's not at an age where we can explain to. We can't explain like this is how mommy and daddy work. He just knows it as the thing that gets our attention. So I really try to be very conscientious of that, especially at this age, because it can't be explained to him in words.
Well said. I also from what Micah was saying as well. Whether it's a podcast guest or screenwriting as well, I'm always thinking about it all the time because, as you said, it never ends. What's the next script, the next guest, all of that stuff. So,
Mhm.
you know, for me, just going for walks and trying not to listen to a podcast, but otherwise, it's a never-ending cycle.
Mhm.
I've got. Oh, I want to actually ask you about this. I know we were talking about your podcast. What was it called? The Fortitude.
Yeah, the Fortitude podcast.
Pardon me. And I've always wondered this because one of my friends, she's like one of the Survivor gurus. She's like one of the biggest names in Survivor, and now she's doing a podcast with her husband. And
Oh, amazing.
yeah, and I'm very proud of them and their journey. And they've just started a podcast about their life as well. I know you guys have taken a break and hopefully it comes back. Oops. What's kind of the relationship with sharing, but then also, you've got your life as well, or bringing up potentially old fights and stuff. How did you guys manage to deal with that?
I
Hmm.
think we've always been big proponents of sharing the things that we've struggled with, things that we've gone through, things that have been difficult for us in our past. And because it's just so easy to look at social media and be like, everything's great all the time. But
Yeah.
You always hear like social media is a highlight reel, and it is, but it's also, we do want, we always want to, share with people that like we walk through the valleys too, just like anyone. And like nothing's, we've never been handed anything. Like we've had to work hard to get where we are. We've had to gone through things that are not easy. And so just we want to share those things with people so that they know that they're not the only one going through something, whether it's similar to what we've gone through or different. They're not the only one walking through a valley. They're like, and it will end. It's, everything is temporary. So I think just wanting to hopefully uh, bring hope to someone if they're in a valley season, that like you're not alone in that valley, and it is going to end. So we really have tried to be open about those things, but I would also say it's about things that we have already overcome. Like we're never going to be sharing,
or at least at a place that we're in a healthy place about it.
yes.
Nice.
So we're not going to be sharing something that's going to be triggering for us, or something that we're like currently working on, or whatever it may be. We love to be an open book once we have gotten through that difficult time. Once we have, just like gotten to the other side. We don't share in the middle. We share once we have gotten to the other side.
Yeah, that's very smart, and I assume it would also help the relationship and how you process as well. And you guys are both very big on personal growth. Sarah has a blog. We'll upload it in the
Yep.
episode notes. Very good blog, by the way. People can check it
thank you.
out. What's the plan with the podcast? Just on hiatus now, or then when it feels right, if it feels right, you'll bring it back, or is it done for good?
I wouldn't say it's done for good. I just think right as of right now, we have a lot of stokes in the fire. Is that the right thing?
Irons in the
Okay. That's why she is the writer. She is the blog post. Like when it comes to captions or anything like that, she always proofreads my captions, because there is almost always a spelling or a grammatical error. And when I don't, then I post it, and then she's like, you spelled speech wrong. So anyway, yes, I foresee that coming back at eventually. I don't know when exactly, because just right now there's a lot of really cool opportunities that we're blessed to have and be working on. And like we're working on we're creating a brand that we're in the very
Ooh.
kind of beginning stages that we can't really talk about as of right now, but like that's coming down the pike. We have a jewelry line that we are near the end of, that we've been designing with. We have a
Cool.
water bottle sling that
Yep.
we've created as well, which is
And headbands?
coming at, yes, that's coming. Yep.
Yeah, the headbands, the clips, I mean, all fun, creative things that we are excited about. But I
Yep.
think it's also about, because we live in New York City, we have a
Yeah.
small space.
Yeah.
There was every time we want the podcast to be of a certain quality. And when we started it, we had the video, we had it at the quality that we wanted. And once we had Shelton, it just felt like we had to take video away, because we just didn't have the bandwidth to set it up and take it down and set it up and break it down every day with the two cameras and the Rode thing and the mics and everything. So then we were like, let's take away the video. And then it just didn't feel like what we wanted it to be. And so we were like, okay, this is feeling like we're if we're going to do it, we want it to be valuable. And we don't want to put something out just to put it out and just to say that we put it out. So we were like, instead,
It's just not fair to our audience or the people that are listening to it.
exactly.
And
So,
also you guys as well.
yeah, so it's something that we would love to bring back, ideally, where we like go to a studio and record it, and we don't have to do it in our home, where we can like just have it, or we eventually live in a place that's large enough where we can have a room where it's set up and ready to go, and we don't have to break it down and put it up.
Yeah.
So we do see a future where it comes back. We're just not sure when that is or what exactly that's going to look like. But we loved doing it. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
I love like that it gives us a platform to be able to share those vulnerabilities, because our short form content really is about bringing joy, having people know that when they come to our page, they're going to leave it feeling better than when they got there. So we just we want to keep that, our short form content like that. And then so it's nice to have a platform where we can share those vulnerable things and hopefully relate to people in a deeper way. And So yeah, we would love to bring that back eventually.
I love your mission. I know, you, as we said, about personal growth and inspiring others, a great mission in alignment with me. Last question before we go, and I ask how people can follow and keep up to date with you. How has your definition of success changed from when you first started musical theatre to now?
Mm.
I mean, I think when I was climbing the musical theater ladder, it was just like my success is when I'm on Broadway. That's success to me. And then this is kind of going back to something we were talking about earlier when it comes to like identity and where do we how do we define ourselves and defining ourselves by what we do. The fact that I won't speak for both of us, but that we took a step back from musical theater for a time because we wanted to get our financial life right. We just wanted to get some other things in order so that we weren't so reliant on our creative pursuits because it was making me resent my creative pursuits because they were not providing for me in the way that I thought that they should. So the fact that taking a step back from those things for a second actually helped me detach my identity from those things because I no longer could say when someone asked me what I did, I used to be like, oh, I'm a professional dancer. Like I do musical theater professionally. That was always what I did. And then I decided to take a step back from that. And so that was no longer what I could say or what I felt like I could say.
Yeah.
And so I really had to realize how much of my identity I had wrapped up in that, reassign those things to where they need to be, which for me is like with my creator, but it that the journey of stepping back from that, I think allowed me to redefine success because then I was like, okay, well now if I'm no longer pursuing that, so what is success for me now? Because the jobs I'm working are not to me a form of success. I'm not looking to climb the ladder in these jobs that I have. They're just temporary while we figure out the pursuit that is going to be right for us. Um, and that allowed me to reshape how I define success and detach it from work
Which
completely.
what is it? What would you identify as success?
Would
Yeah, no.
define success. I mean, I can't say that I have one definition because also I was gonna say like having a son also reshaped that
Right.
because now
Yeah,
it's
of
like
course.
now it's like well my success for me is like does he know how valuable he is? Does he know where his value comes from? And I'm hoping that we can impart those things on him. And like, is that a healthy way for me to view success? Who knows? Probably not because it like puts it on him. But it's much more wrapped up in how are my relationships with my friends? How's my marriage? How's my relationship with my son? Do I
That's
feel
great.
connected to God? Like, are those things aligned properly so that I feel like right in my soul? That's
Yeah.
now become
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
more of
Yep.
how I define success. But even I'm a human, and so it's still so easy to fall into the no, success comes from how much progress we make in our career. So it's, there's always going to be an element of that where it's like you're striving for success.
I think it's the combination of the two. It's like but like success to me is being able to progress in our pursuits while having peace
Yeah.
in our life,
Yeah.
and while having like peace in our life, in our soul, in our relationship. Because who cares if you're climbing a ladder, if you're getting millions and multi-millions and billions of dollars and your relationships suck, and like you're getting a divorce, and like you're just like, that's not success to me. Yeah, I think like success is like being able to like pursue those things, but then also having like peace within yourself, having gratitude, and then also having like having like peace in your relationships.
I agree. Very well said. The holistic outlook, not just on the one specific thing. Before we go, how can people follow you guys? Check out all of the cool stuff that you're doing as well in terms of, the water bottles, the headbands, all of that stuff.
I mean, we're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I think if you follow us on Instagram, that you'll get linked to our other things. But it's just our name, Micah and Sarah I think there's 3 H's at the end of Sarah, which because Micah and Sarah was taken. But you'll find us if you look up Micah and Sarah.
We'll put that all in the episode notes below. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, guys. You guys are very uplifting, empowering. I love your mission. It really speaks to me as well. And I was so in the most positive way when I always let people know which guest is coming on if they want to ask any questions. And the amount of people that respond, and this is from Australia, the other side of the world, the amount of people, like I haven't had that many in a very long time. Well, like I love you guys, and it was really, I'm really happy for you guys that you've had such a great
Wow.
spread across the world. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thanks for sharing that with us. That means so
A
much
lot.
to us.
Yeah.
thanks
We'll
for
have to
doing
come
this.
visit Australia sometime. We
Always
really
welcome.
want to. Amazing.
So nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you.
This was really fun.
I love how Sarah and Micah talk about the moment they decided to act on their dreams and passions. We all face moments in life where we need to take decisive action regardless of the risk. However, for many reasons, such as lack of confidence, fear, or self-doubt, we can hold ourselves back from living our greatest life. They knew they had something special, and despite all the potential hurdles, they recognized the opportunity and chose to back themselves and give it a go. I love this story because when you next have that moment, I hope you'll remember their courage and trust that even small steps can take you further than you possibly imagined. So I'll leave you with this epic quote. Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. Benjamin Disraeli.